Jarvis, you there?
At your service, sir.
Gauge heads-up display.
Check.
Four-door preferences from home interface.
Will do, sir.
So there's been a lot of pushback, as I said, not just in regards to YouTube and the community, right? And you bring up an excellent point about how certain people might feel a certain type of way because of the hierarchy. Do you think that this is a generational thing? Because you look at it now, where there was a study that came out that 52% of millennials and Generation Z from ages 18 to 35 are living at home. Is it, and then you figure that there's a lot of men in that group. It didn't specify just separate men and women. It just said 52% of Generation Z and millennials. But is it, when you look at that, like when you do something like that, have, particularly when we're talking about men in that age group and in their in their 20s, 30s, even 40s, we can go up that way, have men become soft? Are they not as competitive as prior generations?
So yeah, there are many things folded into that question. To begin from the end there about the soft, you can always say that, you know, strong men create good times, and then it goes from there, right? Genghis Khan came through, and by the third generation of the Khans, they were softer. Usually you have the conqueror, and then you have the philosophers, and then you start having more Epicurean or people who were into just sensuality and just kind of squandering the largesse of the results from the conqueror type. The conqueror is the hard man, right? And a few generations down, you have this, and then things crumble, and then usually because another conqueror comes in,
Right, yeah.
and conquers that society. So all that general story is true. However, with regards to hierarchy in general,
Right.
I have to mention something about the trajectory of modern society after we broke down the church and the state. And you see the direction that was going towards, which is, so the king on top, hierarchy, okay? Or the pope, or God on top, and then the king, and so on and so forth, rather regimented. Or you have the church, rather regimented. And then for certain political reasons, we moved into a couple of, and forgive me for getting particularly, maybe I'm up too so obscure here, but a couple of states of nature. One of the states of nature, which the American tradition comes from, is that of Locke and Hobbes. The state of nature which rights come from. We say the state of nature, man, think about your state in nature, and it is short and brutish, and it's the war of all against all.
Right.
So what do you want in that state? What do you want? You want life, you want liberty, and you want pursuit of property or happiness, right? So it's like, okay, well, let's found a society on that, on rights, which is based on emotions.
Right.
The problem though is, you cannot forever keep a bound around that emotion, because really, rights are emotions, okay? Rights are emotions conjured up from a myth of the state of nature.
Okay.
That particular myth of the state of nature, okay? But the thing is, as you roll the time forward, people are gonna be like, but this other thing is alright, and how about my right to this, and how about my right to thoughten it up, and how about my right to just being a lazy bum, and how about my right to this? Healthcare should be right, and this is right. In other words,
Right.
you've kind of unleashed a certain thing. First of all, you want to break down the whole modern project was about breaking again down the church and the state to create a space mainly for science. That's why they were doing it. Okay, they wanted to create a space for science, and then a political regime which respects science, and so on and so forth. The scientific approach towards that, something we can all agree on. Let's imagine the state of nature. Let's talk about what we want there. Okay, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. But you cannot keep that chained. It's gonna keep on. There's gonna be creep. People are gonna want to be like, well, how about this feeling? How about that feeling? Well, why do I have to feel bad about this? And so on. So up to the point where you get to this, quote unquote, as you said earlier in the day, SJW, right? So it was almost like a natural progression.
Right.
Okay. So that is it from that point in terms of the hierarchy and modern society. So it's not so much of a surprise that we're seeing a particular cohort of people expressing these kinds of things.
Okay. When you look at this, and I know, we talk about this high value argument, right? Because some people are just, and to me, it's baffling. First, I think that personally,
Yeah, let's hear your thoughts.
I think every man should strive to be high value, but he should define it in himself what he deems to be high value. Because here's the thing: why wouldn't you want to be the best version of yourself? I want to be the best version of myself. I still have things to work on. Like, yeah, I'm in the gym. I still got ways to go. But look, I still bunker busted with the force of 10,000 doors. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, when I get my, when I with a lady friend, I make love to her like I just got out of jail. Like I've been in jail for 25 years. Facts. Like, seriously. You know what I mean? You know what her nickname is for me? Oh, you don't want to know. Anyways, so here's the thing, though. I think that every man should strive to be the best version of himself, not just financially or mentally, but also spiritually and physically as well. But to me, when I look at a lot of things that are going on, a lot of men have given up. And not just like switch the topic, but a lot of men are saying, oh, these women are too, their standards are too high. You got women now that are, shout out to Coach Greg Adams, 49ers, right? They're 4s, but they think they're 9s. And you got girls that are making all these, like even a girl like making all these stipulations that they want a guy to be 6 feet tall, 6-inch, 6 figures, 6 this, 6 Series BMW, as I was saying earlier. But they don't bring any of that to the table. So a lot of men have decided, you know what? I'm not gonna deal with women. I'm just gonna either maybe go my own way, or I'm gonna get a sex doll. I don't know, whatever it is that guys are doing. And I'm not trying to make this about women, but do you think that's one of the reasons why men don't care about striving to be high value, particularly black men, or is that just a cop-out?
Well, yeah. So we have to remember that historically, across many different societies, there's a large percentage, well, not large, but there's a percentage of men who never procreate.
Yeah, that's true.
And men have always been okay with that. And especially when you have polygamy going on, which I grew up in Africa, and my grandparents on both sides were polygamous.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's still going on to this day.
It still goes on to this day. So in those kinds of societies, you're gonna have a guy, he's on top, he's got 10 wives. And then there's another percentage of guys that have no wives. But
that's why they had brothels back in the day.
And they're in war and they're expendable, but they have a place though. A couple of things, and I'll get to the woman point. One thing is, I mentioned Sergeant Slaughter earlier.
Yeah.
I think that what is important is that even if a man knows his place as a couple of rungs below a particular thing, we will gladly go and die in battle with Sergeant Slaughter, right? So the absence of men to look up to, I think, is an important thing, okay? Because people get value from looking up to people that they can follow, because you're still part of the chain, right? You're still part of the chain, and Sergeant Slaughter is sacrificing to keep that chain going. That's why he jumps out first from the helicopter, right? And these guys follow. So you guys are all part of it, but you guys are part of this hierarchy thing, and it gives you value, it gives Sergeant Slaughter value as well, and everybody benefits from it. Then there was the woman aspect. I think that women obviously were affected by my whole diatribe about let's take down the church and the king and let's create this particular myth. I didn't talk about the other myth of the state of nature, which has to do with the noble savage. Because one is war of all against all, and then there's the noble savage one who's let's all go back to Bohemia and so on and so forth. But anyways, women were also affected by that taking down of boundaries, scaffolding, and hierarchy. And somehow somebody sold a bill of goods to women, and I'm talking about women in general. I'm talking about the proverbial woman, okay? I'm not talking about anybody in particular, okay? So imagine this. You are a woman, you have this thing that you do. Women have always worked, by the way.
Oh yeah, of course.
So the idea of work, not work, it's more like an industrial society thing that we try to make it so like women have always worked, both in the home and also outside. But they have a particular sphere that they take care of. It's the social sphere, the sphere of the women, of the children and other women, and the home, okay,
Right.
and also the social sphere of the man himself, okay? You see, a man is not responsible, nor is he trusted, nor should he be without a woman, okay? And that's why a woman brings trust into the picture. A woman brings responsibility into the picture.
So wait, hold up. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
My bad.
But you telling me if I didn't bring two women here, you wouldn't have trusted me?
No, I wouldn't have trusted you, man. I was like, oh, he's gonna shank me? Where's the knife? Where's the gun? What's going on, right? And I
I'm glad I brought him.
in one of my interviews, I mentioned the only other interview,
Right.
perhaps, or maybe one of the live streams. I mentioned the thought experiment of thinking about yourself in a desert. Okay, you're in a desert, and it's nighttime, and there's horses coming towards you, and then you notice 150 people, and it's all dudes. End scene, next scene, same desert, nighttime, walking alone, horses coming towards you, and you notice 150 people. But there's newlyweds, there's grandma, there's a new baby, there's this, that. In which scenario are you gonna feel more comfortable?
The one you didn't mention is 50 horses, a bunch of women in bikinis, and just coming through. That's
Exactly.
the best scenario.
Well, you get my point,
Yeah,
right?
no, I get it.
The point is, us men, what makes us men is the fact that we're marauders. We're out there in the desert, raping and pillaging. That's what we do. We do not become trusted or responsible until you get that other scene. Okay? The other scene is one where society and civilization can be moved forward. Okay? It's not, I'm not saying, the men should be, no. A man is the first scene. Okay? That's what makes us men.
Right.
And that's what we are. But
I agree with that.
what is a woman's role? What the role does she play? Is to bring in, to soften the edges, to bring in the comfort that you immediately feel when you think of that second scene. Okay,
Right.
and it makes me trust you more.
Like the third scene.
The third scene is definitely necessary. It's good times. Then the reason I paint these scenes is to talk about a woman who, in the past, was playing that role of women, children, and the social aspect, the bringing in of that civilization, the clean water and the picket fences, which men don't give a crap about, okay? We don't.
No, facts.
Okay, so really, like,
Woman.
we are Sparta. We want to go there and die and do this, and we care about glory and ego and shit like that.
Right.
We don't care about all these other things.
Yeah, make sure we have paintings for the kitchen and stuff like that. Yeah.
We don't do that
Facts.
stuff. So somehow somebody sold women a bunch of goods that, hey, you know what? Your sphere here, that's not where happiness is. Happiness is in the cubicle. You see that office over there? You see that factory? That's where all the happiness is. Go there, go get a paycheck. Go get a W-9 and go put it on social security. Yeah, file taxes. That's what'll make you happy.
Yeah.
So, as a result of that, women are not understanding their particular role. Femininity, in other words, what I'm saying is femininity has been denigrated. Right?
Facts.
And
I talk about
women
that all
have
the
been
time.
sold that, hey, you know what? Masculinity is the thing you want. Hey, go out there and go do what the men are doing over there. They're hoarding the happiness, but look, if you just think about it, is happiness in the cubicle? That's where it's at? Getting a paycheck? Really? That's what we've been hiding that from them? So, point being, to answer your question, is that women no longer understand the value that they bring, okay? To your point about they're not bringing that stuff in, but that's because they've been told that their femininity is not of value.
Right. The reason I bring up women, you know as well as I do. Let's be honest, right? We could make a video right now talking about cryptos, which we might touch later on. But guess what? Nobody's gonna watch it. But if we talk about where to meet white girls with big butts, or where to meet Asian girls with, you know what? Oh yeah, we're gonna get views. We're gonna get clicks. And when you look at the situation, right, about the high value man. A lot of men try to conflate it or issue it with just getting women. But what about getting power? What about being comfortable, security? Or is it just about women, Ike? Let's keep it 100. Is being a high value man just about getting girls? I think she wants to say something in the back, but go ahead.
So, I mentioned what the role of woman plays. Whether it's one woman or many women, okay? And whether it's just for validation of ego or in order to actually gain societal power,
Right.
the woman aspect is in there. So, whether it's, I'm just doing it so I can have a bunch of whatever's coming to the house, or I'm doing it so that I can have my woman by my side and then we can build that empire, right? Either way, a woman comes to the picture, right? As Kevin Samuels always says, if you go to the C-suite of companies, the executives, the CEOs, they're married.
Right.
There is a glass ceiling for single men,
Right.
because of the desert image I painted for you. That's it. It's in our psyches, our subconscious. The single guy is not to be trusted. Okay? Now, I'm engaged, we'll be married soon, but I'm a single guy. I've been single for a while. I'm telling you, this is what we are. This is not me trying to we are not to be trusted. We're about glory and destruction, raping and pillaging or whatever. That's what we do. Okay. I'll get to
You can tell.
I'll get to your question.
Yeah.
It is not about women, but women are a huge inspiration to men
Yes.
to do that.
Amen.
Because if the woman says, you know what, you're fine just being in a little cardboard box over there, and we got you, you're top dog, whatever, then generally speaking, you're gonna have a large percentage of men just doing that, right? So it is not all about women, but I would just reiterate and close out the answer by saying that whether it's about bringing in a woman so that you have that respectability that is bestowed upon you by having a woman on your side that you're committed to, so you can raise a family so that you actually are responsible for people, which gives you an extra gear, by the way, okay? No matter how motivated you are, when you have someone else that you're responsible for and then also bring in children, there is another gear that you have that you never even knew you had, that just rockets you to another level. But also, women are also there to inspire you. Forget the family aspect now. Women are there to inspire you, and that's why the power of the PU. You know, remember that song?
With that wet ass.
That's why
we call waffle and pancakes. Waffle and pancakes.
Right? So,
Waffle and pancakes.
femininity in general is a very powerful aspect in terms of inspiration. It's very powerful for men. Okay? Very, very powerful. And since you kept it within that sphere, I'll just limit it to that sphere. Yes, it is very important.